Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Only 5 more shopping days until Christmas for the New York Yankees. And for Yankees fans, the gifts have been piling up under the tree. First, we got Max Fried, then Devin Williams, and now Cody Bellinger. All very good moves, in my opinion, but all moves that carry with them some level of risk. You know, Max Fried has had the arm trouble, specifically in the Tommy John region of the arm, which is, frightening, and they signed him to an 8-year contract. You can pretty much guarantee that at some point he's going to have more arm problems over the life of that contract. Devin Williams missed a significant portion of the season last year because of a fracture in his back. And Cody Bellinger has had a significant shoulder injury in the past and has had some up and down years since. So a lot of risk with these moves, but the Yankees at least showing some aggressiveness, really trying to get better. But given the state of the roster and given the available players this offseason, right now, I don't think the Yankees could have executed Plan B much more effectively than they've done. And they're not finished yet. Brian Cashman said, stay tuned for more moves. We'll talk about the remaining pieces available in just a minute, but we still need a first baseman, and we still need either a third baseman or a second baseman. And finding quality players to fill these spots is not going to be easy because, like the players that the Yankees have already picked up, there's a lot of warts and a lot of potential risk associated with these folks. And I just realized my light wasn't on, so I got to fix that. But we're gonna miss the tandem of Judge and Soto for sure next year. From an entertainment standpoint, the Yankees are not going to be as much fun to watch in the top part of the lineup. It's just Soto's a legendary type of hitter, and Judge even better. So while that is going to be gone, we do have a chance to be a fundamentally much more sound baseball team. Our closer probably isn't going to blow 15 games next year. And we've got a real chance to win 100 games, I think, if you execute these final couple of roster pieces correctly. Now, before we get to the tough choices that remain for the Yankees, we're going to talk a little bit about Roki Sasaki, because Roki Sasaki has apparently booked a meeting with the New York Yankees. I see a lot of people making a big deal out of this. I don't see it as a huge deal. His agent is going to meet with everybody, right? They're going to try and get him in a spot that he's extremely comfortable with. But word around the campfire is that he prefers to pitch in kind of a medium market. We talked about it with Robbie Hyde the other day. I think Kansas City could be a good fit for him. Baltimore could be a good fit for him. I could see him landing in Houston or with the Texas Rangers. I could see him going to the Cubs. I give the Yankees a very low percentage chance of signing Roki Sasaki. But if they do, they might have to plan for either a 6-man rotation like the Dodgers are planning to do, or have a swing man on the roster. He has never thrown more than 129 innings as a professional in Japan, and that was 3 years ago. He pitched only 91 innings in 2023 and 111 innings in 2024. So to count on him for 150 to 170 innings is just not realistic. It means that the Yankees would essentially need a 6th starting pitcher to fill in on the regular, or to be ready to step up when Roki needs some time off. Now, if the Yankees sign Sasaki, that means that Marcus Stroman is out of the rotation. Full stop. You're going to put Roki in the number 5 spot, skip him when you can. But Stroman, I'm not sure he wants to pitch for a full season out of the bullpen, and I'm not sure that's a great use of their money. So I think if you sign Sasaki somehow, you have to also trade Stroman. And that would leave you with a combination of Will Warren, Chase Hampton, maybe Clayton Beeter, maybe one of the young guys that you drafted out of college next year to be your potential 6th man or swing man in the rotation. And that's assuming nobody gets injured. Last year was kind of an anomaly that the Yankees didn't have any major injuries outside of Garrett Cole for the first couple of months. They were pretty healthy. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole Sasaki scenario plays out. I still contend that he'd be a better fit in like the AL Central But no problem with it if the Yankees are able to land him. I think the upside is worth the risk. It's not a huge financial risk. Obviously, it's an injury risk, but that's the case with every pitcher, right? And he's still 23 years old next year, so he can get bigger and stronger and more durable. And the Yankees have a lot of technology at measuring when a pitcher is beginning to weaken in their delivery and things like that. They were able to manage Luis Hill effectively this year, so I could see them doing a good job with Sasaki. But tough choices still remain. The Yankees still need infielders. They might need an outfielder if they decide to play Cody Bellinger at first base. When the Yankees traded for Bellinger, almost immediately we got word that he was going to be playing center field. Brian Cashman said yesterday that is fake news. Fake news. He also could end up being the first baseman. We don't know. He could still end up in left field for all we know. I doubt it. I think if he plays the outfield, it's going to be center because he's an above-average center fielder, and you don't mess with that. I do like that there's been reports of basically Scott Boras begging the Yankees to trade for him. He was nagging Brian Cashman repeatedly, calling him, pestering him, get this guy to the Yankees because Cody Bellinger wanted to be there, which is very dissimilar to another Boras client whose name I will not mention but rhymes with John Schmodo. Anyway, let's take a look at the players available at this point. If you watched Foul Territory yesterday, I was on for a short conversation. We'll watch it in a little bit. We'll take a look at it together. But basically, I talked about how I'm not really in love with any of the free agent first basemen out there. Honestly, there aren't any free agent offensive players out there where I'm like, you have got to go out and get this guy, and I'll be devastated if you don't. I think the closest thing to that was Cody Bellinger. I really wanted Cody Bellinger. Obviously Soto, but that's not going to, whatever. We're going to move on from that. Cody Bellinger, we got for nothing. Cody Poteet was a guy who probably would have been on the Scranton shuttle, maybe the injured list again a few times. Quality pitcher, but hasn't been able to stay healthy. So no big loss there. Caleb Durbin, though, surprising loss. Surprised that he was part of the Devin Williams trade. Interesting development because the Yankees had him penciled in for second base. So by the Yankees making that move, they kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul. To strengthen their bullpen, they had to open up another hole in the infield. But I like the Devin Williams move. I like that this allows you to use Luke Weaver as kind of like a high-leverage guy outside of the ninth inning, whether it's the seventh inning, whether it's the seventh and eighth inning in a close game. Then you go to Devin Williams in the ninth. And if you got Loaizaga back to full strength, maybe he can pitch the seventh sometimes, and you can let Weaver set up in the eighth. A lot of options in the bullpen now. Could be a real strength. I still think you need to bring back Tim Hill, who's on our list. The Yankees don't have any quality lefties. I don't think they have any lefties right now in the bullpen. So go out and re-sign Tim Hill. And the money coming from Chicago, $2.5 million per year, along with Cody Bellinger, could be enough of a savings basically to pay for most of a Tim Hill move. So I like the chances of him coming back. Apparently there's mutual interest. Now, looking at the free agent first baseman, obviously Pete Alonso, power hitter, with very few other positives about his game, other than he's a great clubhouse guy. Christian Walker, all-around solid player, but right now, he's a little bit too old. He's 34. He's not going to get any younger. He's a 250 hitter. I think I'd rather have a bit more contact out of that position. So I'm not really in love with any of those guys. Carlos Santana, a little bit too old. I think Brian Cashman's going to look into some more trades. We've seen him be aggressive in trades already. Yandy Diaz and Nathaniel Lowe, both trade options that I think would fit well. We'll talk more about them in a second. For the other infield spots, you've got Bregman still out there. Good player, but expensive. Comes with baggage. You got Luis Ariz, solid contact hitter, but mostly a DH at this point. Can't play defense at all. Brendan Donovan could be a good fit. It doesn't look like Nico Horner is going to be a realistic possibility because I thought if he was moved, it would be as part of the Bellinger deal. And, as for the outfield, Jurickson Profar still out there, Anthony Santander out there. Both of them have risks. Profar had a bad second half, and this was really his only good year. Anthony Santander's a .235 hitter, but he does replace the power that you've lost from Juan Soto, and he's a switch hitter. You stick him out in left, though, he's not a great defender, and that's a big left field. So there's no perfect puzzle fits. That's one of the reasons that I think the Cody Bellinger move was great. Not only does he fit in two spots, which gives you flexibility, it gives you leverage, right? Because now when you're negotiating with an outfielder, you're negotiating with a first baseman, you could say, well, I'm not going to overpay because I got Bellinger for that spot, right? And eventually the Yankees are going to have to commit to where they play Bellinger, but you don't need to do it publicly right now, right? Because it gives you leverage. So they still need another infielder. That's where I think there's two really good options. One internal. I'd be completely fine with giving Oswald Peraza a chance to play third base. He should have been given a chance to win a job a couple of years ago. Give him a shot. Play him at third base. See how it goes. Worst case scenario, he stinks for a month or two. Let's give him till Memorial Day. Let's say, late May. If he stinks for 2 months, all right, you go out and you trade for somebody. And if he's good, well, then you got a cheap option for third base who's a good defender with a good arm, a little bit of pop. So I want to talk a little bit about the path forward for me. About a week ago, I had Terrence on the show, and we put together our lineups for the 2025 season. And since then, the Yankees have made the Bellinger deal official, and it sounds like he's going to be in center field. No guarantee, but that's where I think they would play him. That's where you get the most value out of him. It's easier to get a first baseman than a quality center fielder. So I think he's going to be out there in center, and Dominguez will be in left. However, I have given it some thought. I've made a couple of revisions to my lineup. So let's take a look at it. So my hypothetical lineup, I got Dominguez in left now, switch hitter at the top of the lineup. I like that he sees a ton of pitches. Switch hitter means you can put him up there every single day. I think he will get better against left-handed pitchers in the major leagues because of a couple of reasons. One, he's going to see more strikes, right? You're going to see more consistent pitching. You're going to have better, I guess, like technology. They got that, traject machine or whatever, where you can basically practice against the pitcher that you're about to see. Just better tools, better coaching. I think just improvement is likely as and so many teams want to throw lefties at the Yankees because they struggled against them last year, even with Soto, and because Yankee Stadium is tough on right-handed hitters. I think he's going to have ample opportunity to get better. Now you might say, well, then don't put him in the leadoff spot to begin the season, and that's a fair argument, and that's fine. This is just what I'm going with. If it were an MLB The Show game, this is my lineup. I got Dominguez in left, Bellinger in center batting second, Judge batting third in right field. I'm signing Alex Bregman. Yeah, I get the baggage, and some Yankees fans are going to call me a traitor for signing somebody from the Astros, but they've done it before. They've had guys from that Astros team before, including Cameron Maybin, played, I think, 21 games with the Astros that year, played with the Yankees for a bit. And he was, in the booth. They brought in Beltran, who was, in the booth after that whole situation. I don't think that Cashman is allergic to that, although I do think it will affect his money somewhat. They're not going to overpay for him. Austin Wells behind the dish. I think he's going to have a better year. I've got him in the number 5 spot with Stanton protecting him. Stanton going to be another power threat, but I don't want to count on him in the cleanup spot anymore at this point in his career. Maybe in the postseason if he's crushing it. But right now, given that he doesn't really run, he kind of clogs up the bases a little bit, still strikes out a lot, and he's going to miss some time every year. Let's put him in the number 6 spot and just, kind of hope that he runs into some bombs. I'll take 25 home runs. I'll take 115 games out of the regular season. Just be healthy for the playoffs. Chisholm, back to second base once you sign Bregman. And now you're better in the entire infield. Your second base defense is better. Your third base defense is better. We know what Volpe is at shortstop, and you'll see my first baseman in a second. Nathan Lau, I think he's a really solid defender. He's not a free agent. You're going to have to trade for him. You're going to have to move some pieces. There's some concerns about Lau's ground ball rate. He hits the ball on the ground a lot, but that's the type of thing you can fix with coaching, right? You can't teach somebody to have elite exit velocity. I mean, it's one of those things where, it comes naturally with your bat speed and your ability to square the ball up. I'm going to put up his StatCast numbers again real quick because I think it's worth looking at. You know, his expected, his ex-WOBA, or expected weighted on base average, I think. I don't remember the acronym. It's a good measurement of a hitter. It's above average. His batting run value is well above average. His fielding run value is well above average, top 20% in the league. His walk percentage. You know, imagine somebody who is in the 97th percentile of walk rate, hitting at the bottom of your order, turning it over for Dominguez and Bellinger and Soto. I mean, that's a really circular lineup. He doesn't strike out that much. He doesn't whiff that much. Yeah, he's going to hit some ground balls, but I mean, he's not going to probably hit as many as our record-breaking ground ball to the right side hitter last year, Alex Verdugo. So I'm not overly concerned with that. So my lineup, once again, Dominguez, Bellinger, Judge, Bregman, Wells, Stanton, Chisholm, Volpe, Lowe. I think that is a World Series caliber lineup. There's been some talk about, guys like Luis Ariz. I don't see him as a defender. I think the Yankees want to get better as a team. I think this is a way to do it. Diego says Everson Pereira still Yankee. Seems like people forgot about him. Well, he was in the process of working some kinks out in the minor leagues last year when he got hurt. I think you have to see him come back and be a solid player before you can put him in there. Plus, he's right-handed. He strikes out a ton in the minor leagues. Not sure he's the best fit for what the Yankees are trying to do right now, but I can see him being kind of a trade piece. So, all right, yesterday I was on Foul Territory. If you don't subscribe to that channel, you should. It's also on Bally Sports Network from 1 to 3 on weekdays. And I had about a 9-minute discussion with the guys about the Yankees and about where we're at right now as a team. And I gave my thoughts. I thought it was a pretty fun little talk and pretty succinct. And if you missed it, I thought my audience would enjoy it. So I'm going to play that for you now. And then when we get back, we'll have voicemails. We got 5 or 6 voicemails to get through. So here comes my interview with Foul Territory.
Here we go. Derek with the Foul Territory cap, Pinstripe Territory host, the big man, also really shining yesterday. Derek, great to have you on because you had been talking about Cody Bellinger before it was cool to talk about Cody Bellinger to the Yankees. So what'd you think about it?
Well, Cody Bellinger has been linked to the Yankees for a couple of years now. And I think it's a good fit. I mean, I'm glad to see that the Yankees have decided to get more athletic. They've recognized that their athleticism, their defense was an issue. And I'm glad to see that they're not getting back into that problematic area where they're too right-handed. A couple of years ago, if Juan Soto had been a Yankee and he had signed with the Mets, the Yankees would have gone out and signed Pete Alonso the next day. But I'm glad to see that they're seeing that lefties are very important at Yankee Stadium finally.
Oh, yeah, but I miss those days, don't you? The Red Sox signed Manny, the Yankees go get A-Rod. It was like, it was back and forth. It was battles.
Pete and Pinstripes would be epic. So what do you want? What do you want next?
So there's been a lot of talk about what the Yankees need. Obviously, first base is still an issue, and they probably need one infielder, either a third baseman or a second baseman. I'm not in love with any of the available first base free agents. I think Pete Alonso is too much of a power guy, not enough of a baseball generalist in terms of base running and in terms of defense. And Christian Walker, 34 years old, excellent player. I spoke to Robert Murray on my show, and he was telling me how underrated he is. But 34 years old, and we just watched DJ LeMahieu fall off a cliff around that age. So my guy is Nathaniel Lowe. There was a article by Matthew Postins, I believe, who covers the Rangers for SI, and he was suggesting that there's a lot of reasons that the Rangers could deal Nathaniel Lowe, and if that happens, I think he'd be a great fit for the Yankees. A solid contact guy, good defender. He's got a little bit of pop. He hit 300 a couple of years ago, but he's not a guy who sacrifices his swing for power. He can use the whole field. If he's available, I think you got to move some pieces to get him. There's been also some talk about Alex Bregman for third base. I'm not sure that I'm in love with that move. Brian Hoke, who covers the Yankees for MLB.com, their beat writer, put out a tweet that basically said there's mutual interest and the interest is real. I don't know how Aaron Judge or Cody Bellinger would feel about having him in the clubhouse, having played against that 2017 Astros team. But upgrading at third base allows you to fill second base with Jazz Chisholm, where he's naturally better as a defender. And then you probably give Ben Rice a shot at first base, right? Let his left-handed swing develop in Yankee Stadium. So, as Brian Cashman says, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. I was chatting with Cameron Maben on X, and he was basically saying about the Bregman thing that, he played for that Astros team too, and Cashman still brought him in. So, maybe it can happen. We'll see.
Who's untouchable? Because now the Yankees are talking, trades. Oh wow, we're going to trade to go upgrade here. Because you had Caleb Durbin starting. I'm a big pinstripe territory fan. You had him starting on one of your episodes. You talked about him starting at second base in the big leagues for the team. Well, he gone. So
Yeah.
who's untouchable right now in the org that you would be disappointed if they got rid of?
Well, to clarify, Brian Cashman had come out and said that Caleb Durbin was the leading candidate to take over at second base. I was always a little skeptical because his exit velocity in the minors is like 83 miles an hour. He's 5'6". I mean, how many Altuves are there out there, right? And I wasn't buying it that much, but I was anxious to see how he would look in spring training. He obviously had a good Arizona Fall League. To me, the main guy who's untouchable is Jason Dominguez, the Martian. I've been a big fan of his for a while, following through the minor leagues. When he came up a couple of years ago, he set the world on fire for about 7 games, and then he tore his UCL, had to have surgery. He missed the first part of last year, and then he was like a rocket, just coming back in through the minor leagues on his rehab assignment. He played great in AAA. He had great numbers. He hit over 300. The power was there. He stole a ton of bases. Then he came up to the major leagues and couldn't catch a fly ball. And I think that affected his whole game. He made a couple of errors early. I don't know if it was the triple deck syndrome, coming from the minor leagues and not being used to, the wind whirling around the dome in Safeco and Oakland, where he had some mistakes. And then Yankee Stadium, he gets put in left field. He's a natural center fielder. So it kind of fell apart for him. And so people are down on him, but I still think a switch hitter in today's game who has power from both sides and who's a patient hitter with speed, I think you got to keep him. And right now he's penciled in to be a cheap corner outfielder. They're probably going to play Bellinger in center, although there was just a report, I believe it was from Brian Hoke, who said that it's fake news that Belly was told he's going to play center field for sure. So Belly's still an option at first base. That would allow Dominguez to be in center, and then maybe you go get a left fielder like Santander or something along those lines. But to me, the one untouchable guy, to answer your question, Kratzy, is Jason Dominguez.
Okay, so Derek, would you rather have Juan Soto or Max Fried and Cody Bellinger? Take Devin Williams out of the combo. They could have gotten him either way. I don't care what happens 15 years from now. I don't care what happens 10 years from now.
You can't take him out of the conversation.
This is my question. I don't care what happens 8 years from now. Next season, would you rather have had Fried and Bellinger or Juan Soto?
Fried and Bellinger or Juan Soto. That's tough. So, I was one of the few Yankees fans who was not heartbroken when Juan Soto signed with the Mets, especially when I saw the final number of $765 million. The tandem of Judge and Soto was amazing to watch. They combined for 99 home runs. Soto walking in front of Judge and then Judge hitting a 2-run home run in the first inning. It happened about 15 times last year, and it was amazing, and it just got the game started off great, and you just love to see the battles early on. Soto was clutch. He was probably the most clutch hitter on the team other than Stanton in the postseason. He hit the big home run to put the Yankees in the World Series. But I knew, and every Yankees fan who's honest with themselves knew that he was going to be difficult to re-sign and that the price was going to be such that if you did re-sign him, it was going to basically leave the Yankees with some of the holes and the deficiencies that we saw cost them the World Series. So what you're really asking me is, would I like the entertainment of Soto and Judge back-to-back, historic, or would I rather the Yankees have a better shot to win the World Series? And if I'm being honest as a fan, as much as I love Juan Soto, I'd rather see the Yankees have a more complete team. I'm a kid of the 90s. I loved watching the team that would battle and scrape by and play that quote-unquote National League style game. That doesn't really exist as much anymore. But I really loved watching those teams that were more complete. I missed the Scotty Bros and the Tino Martinez's. Not everybody needs to be a 40 home run guy, but everybody has to be able to play baseball at a high level and run the bases and make the defensive plays and stay focused for a full game. I'm glad that we're separating the wheat from the chaff a little bit and getting really solid baseball players back in the mix again.
Okay. Interesting. We'll see how the offense looks. Still more work to do.
The offense will be fine.
Okay.
Because there's more work to be done. And by the way, Kratz, back me up here. You can't just say like, oh, and he was going to get Devin Williams either way. You don't know that. You
You don't
Scott's,
know that. So you
Scott's a
can't just make
manipulator.
up
He's just
trades. You're just
manipulating
making
the
stuff up
answers.
today.
No,
Yeah.
they would have gotten him either
You're
way.
asking, how do you know that? You don't know that.
They would have. It's just my opinion.
Money's a
It's
wash.
fine.
Money's a wash.
Yeah. Yeah. Devin Williams doesn't cost much. So that's not part of the equation.
Yeah, but if they had 50 million extra on the books already, maybe
It would have
that.
cost twice as much. If they were over the
No.
CBT threshold,
Last I
it would have
checked,
cost
the
twice.
Another good
Steinbrenners are
point. Thank you, Kratz. That's why we have you.
pretty damn rich.
The way I look at it is
But-
you're replacing Nestor Cortez with Max Fried. You're replacing Clay Holmes with Devin Williams. So already the pitching staff is better. Now you can't replace Juan Soto, but maybe, to borrow the phrase from Moneyball, you can rebuild him. So that's what I'm hopeful for.
There you go. All right. Well, this is the Martian's #1 fan too. So I'm excited I'm a big fan too.
I
So
got
I'm
a card. I got an autograph. Jason to me. I'll sell it to you. Just DM me, Derek. Just DM me.
Or you could text him because you
I'm
guys
not
know
sure
each
any. I could give you my whole bank account and it wouldn't make a difference in your life, AJ. I'm pretty sure.
How much I paid for this damn card?
Hey, Derek, thanks for joining us, dude. Everyone check out Pinstripe Territory. Wherever you get your pods. The YouTube channel is fire.
All right. So that was the appearance on Foul Territory. We got a few voicemails to get to real quick.
Hey, Derek. John all the way from Florida, man. Hey, just got a comment on the Yankees real quick. I don't like the way the Yankees treat their minor league players. They don't give enough chances. Like, I honestly don't think that the Yankees are too high on Dominguez. And I honestly can see a scenario where they actually trade Dominguez this mid-season for another bat or maybe another pitcher. I'm not sure why. Peraza never got a fair shot. Dominguez needs his fair shot. I remember all these other guys like Florial and all these other guys. It's just that I think they need to do better with their minor league players. You know, it's not a good look. You know, it's definitely not a good look. Great show, man. Love your show. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, Dominguez actually moved up the minor leagues rather quickly. They gave him a chance at 20 years old, which is something they don't typically do. So I do believe they're high on Dominguez. They went all in for him as an international free agent, $5.1 million, their entire budget, essentially, which is unheard of. And I do believe they're high on Dominguez. And they might be putting it out there that they're not that high on Dominguez, or at least, not overly gushing about him because they don't want to put pressure on the kid, right? And he showed last fall that he had some defensive issues he needed to correct. I've been told he's working on that hard. So I agree with you with some of the things about the minor league guys that they need to give them chances. I do think that Oswald Peraza has kind of gotten stiffed a few times when he's been playing really well in the minor leagues, and there's been some guys in front of him who haven't played well. You know, Josh Donaldson, for instance. You know, he stunk, and, you had an opportunity to replace him with Peraza. They didn't do it. But, Estevan Florial, he stinks. He's in Japan now. I'm not heartbroken about that.
Maybe the defense is because of Boone. Have you ever thought about maybe if Terry Facona was a manager, it would be a lot different with all the talent that we have. I say we bring back Verdugo in left. We Bellinger in center, Dominguez in right. Put Judge at first. Bring back Torres at second. And definitely off.
All right, I'm gonna stop you right there. Verdugo, not no, but hell no. Set the record for groundouts to second base last year, so that's a hard pass from me. Gleyber Torres doesn't sound like the Yankees want to put up with that defense anymore. I'm not totally against Judge at first base at some point if that's something they want to do. He's an elite right fielder though, and I'm tired of playing guys out of position. If you're going to do it, you need to commit to it early in the offseason so that way he has an entire winter to pick throws and work on that stuff, and you're not trying to rush it together. But I do think that, he's an enormous target over there at first base for those throws. So, some of those balls that are short hopping, he'll be able to reach out the extra few inches and grab them before they even hit the ground. All you got to really do is get it within his wingspan at first base, which should be easy for most major league arms.
Yeah, I was just wondering if maybe our defensive problems and our things like that are because of Boone. Maybe
I think it's the same guy who called before. I obviously fundamentals and things like that are a product of leadership downward, right? It's not just Boone, it's the coaching staff, it's the focus of the organization, right? They're focused on a few things. They're focused on striking guys out, they're focused on hitting home runs, and they're focused on drawing walks. That's what the Yankees believe in. And their defense has not been a huge priority for years, nor has their base running. But hopefully last year showed that you got to focus on those things, and hopefully the audit revealed that as well.
Hey, Derek. This is Joe from Connecticut. Just wanted to clarify this. So the Yankees' remaining payroll, I keep seeing from a lot of places, is around 289, and they don't want to go above 300 to 301, which leaves about 10 to 12 million left. Everything I'm checking says we're between 268 and 270 after the Bellinger deal. Do you know which one is correct? And if the 268, 270 is correct, we obviously definitely can still go out and get another big bat, maybe another small bat too. But if it's 289, doesn't really leave much room to do much more. I mean, I guess you could trade Stroman. Just wanted your opinion. Which one is correct? And which route would you take remaining for whatever one is actually correct? Thanks.
Yeah. So right now, their current payroll allocations under contract is $234,726,666, and their projected allocations, this builds in things like arbitration and raises and bonuses, things like that, $268,236,666. So they still have roughly $30 million to spend. If you go out and you sign Bregman, that's 30 right there. That's why I think that they're going to try and fill first base or third base, or one of the infield spots with a kid. I think they will spend big on one more position. The outfield probably set with Bellinger in center and Dominguez in left, although I agree with the commenter who just said he's a natural center fielder. I agree with you. But there's a website called SpotTrack, SPOTRAC.com. It does a really great job of breaking down, things like, who's owed what bonuses get added, like signing bonuses that are paid out over time, different salary allocations, vesting options, and then retained payroll, money we're still paying for other folks like Nestor Cortez, Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Hicks, and so forth. So this is a good way to look at things. You can also look at projected arbitration numbers. This is a great website to look at. So I recommend SpotTrack for all your salary questions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get ready for work. I just wanted to stop in and talk with you guys a little bit about what the Yankees are looking at here over the next several days, hopefully. I do believe they'll make one more move before the Christmas holiday, either today or tomorrow or Saturday. I think that you don't want to make a move on Sunday because a lot of people are off the following week. You don't have physicals and all that good stuff. So I'm anticipating another move soon. Guys want to be signed by the holidays. They want to have that money committed before they swipe that credit card for the Christmas presents and so forth. But I really believe that moves are going to happen soon, and then we'll know. We'll have a better idea of what the Yankees' opening day lineup will look like. All right, thanks for watching. We're going to call it a day. Tune into Foul Territory at 1 p.m. We'll see you next time. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.